Good morning. Good Sunday morning. This is Shindo. This morning I'm going to talk about someone who I just found out about. He is a religious right leader. Now, you may wonder how I come across this information. Well, usually it's not from YouTube videos themselves, but from comments that I see on YouTube videos. Now, traditional Christians, a lot of these people who think of themselves as prophets, call themselves prophets, on YouTube, and they're a bunch of crackpots. There's no doubt about that. But what's scary about a lot of these people is that they have such a huge following on YouTube. I watch their videos, and then I look at the comment section. There are a lot of Christians today, at least the ones on YouTube. Well, the evangelical vote was in the 80s, 85%, 89%, something around there, for Donald Trump. So a lot of these evangelical types on YouTube, whether they even believe it or not, I don't know, but they are all moving towards talking about how Donald Trump is this God's chosen person. So I oftentimes, just to wake up with a nice morning scare, read what these people are saying about Donald Trump in the message boards. So I find a lot of information there. This morning, I found out about a man named Lance Wallnau. He is a evangelical, well, he's not evangelical, I guess. But he's a right preacher, a right, I guess what you might call a motivational speaker. I did a little bit of research about this guy. Lance Wallnau, this is about Lance Wallnau. It's just called that, about Lance Wallnau. This is a link. I'll put the link in the box. This is about a man who, for the first 3 paragraphs, it says absolutely nothing about him being even a Christian. It just talks about him doing this motivational speaking that I assume he calls it this, catalytic thinking. Now, catalytic thinking is a set of practices that make, I had to look this up too, Catalytic thinking is a set of practices that makes explicit the simple factors that create positive results so that results can be consistently replicated and scaled. That's just a lot of gibberish for positive thinking. So this guy is somebody who I guess talks about, the law of attraction. You think positively, and positive things happen to you, and that's a real movement now within the Christian church. They itch the ears of the Christians. That's what the Bible would call it. A bunch of people with itching ears who gets their ears scratched. Well, 4 paragraphs down in this about section, it doesn't say anything about him being a Christian until this. It says he currently directs the Lance Learning Group, a strategic and consulting company based in Dallas. Well, actually, oh my God. Okay. Academic attainment includes a doctorate in ministry with a specialization in marketplace from Phoenix University of Theology. That's an online school, folks. Phoenix University. It's a joke school. This guy apparently, from what I've read, spoke to Donald Trump. And he told Donald Trump about this idea that he is Cyrus. I believe I mentioned this in another video. Maybe I'll do an entire video on what Christians are saying about Donald Trump. They are comparing him directly with King Cyrus, who freed the Babylonian slaves, the Jews, the Israelites, that is, to go back to Israel and rebuild the Second Temple. Trust me, they'll be talking about the Third Temple really soon, and that is a sure sign of who Donald Trump is. It should be to most Christians, but most Christians are blinding themselves to this. Now, I'm going to read this. This is called Right Wing Watch. This is about this guy, Lance Wallnau. Okay, this man spoke to Donald Trump about how Christians are saying he's the new Cyrus, that somehow he's going to lead the Israelites back into the promised land, basically. A Messiah-type figure, again. This is scary stuff. It should scare anybody who's rational. It should scare anybody who's not a Christian. I mean, it should wake you up at least. Scare, perhaps not. Scare may be a bit of a strong of a word, but it should wake you up to what's going on. Know your enemy, folks. If you're not a Christian and you don't think the Christians are your enemy, that they're just a joke, you're about to find out they're not just a joke. They have huge numbers of people. They're not just a joke. There are 2.5 billion people in this world who call themselves Christians. And these are dangerous times we're going into, and you need to be aware of that if you're not a Christian. Don't worry about any of this prophecy nonsense. Don't worry about it. But be aware that they see you as the enemy if you are not one of them. It is us and them as far as they're concerned. They don't think the way many of us do, that we're all in this together. They think of you as a them. So this is right-wing watch about this man who told Donald Trump about the Cyrus analogy that all the Christians are talking about. Lance Wallnau. God chose Trump to encourage the church to fight Satan. This, of course, will also be linked in the description box. Folks, if you like what I do, subscribe to my channel. Click like. I can guarantee you I'm going to get a lot of thumbs down on this one. Click like, comment, and share my videos. Okay, Lance Wallnau, a religious rights speaker and leading advocate of Seven Mountains Dominionism, continues his advocacy for Donald Trump in an interview with far-right radio host Rick Wiles on Monday. This was dated November 2nd. This is right before the election. Okay. Back to it. It continues his advocacy for Donald Trump in an interview with far-right radio host Rick Wiles on Monday, insisting that, quote, God chose Trump, unquote, from among the Republican presidential candidates to send a message to the church in America to engage in a battle for the culture against Satan. Folks, that's you and me. That's you and me. If you aren't a Christian, he is saying that he told Donald Trump this, that Donald Trump is there to help fight Satan. That's you and me, folks, if you're not a Christian. Wallnau explained that he was invited to a small meeting with Trump and fellow evangelicals this summer by, quote, a PR agent that works for Paula White, unquote, a prosperity gospel proponent who is close to Trump. He said that while he first joined the meeting simply, quote, out of curiosity, God told him while he was there that, quote, Donald Trump is a wrecking ball to the spirit of political correctness, and that, quote, his presence is a disruptive element, a chaos element to the devil's plans, unquote. Quote, is the evangelical Christian world missing what God is doing right now? Wiles asked. Quote, oh yeah, I think that's why God chose Trump as opposed to any of the 14 better qualified conservative evangelicals that he was running against. Wallnau responded. Quote, because the Lord actually making a statement, the church collectively, 100 million believers have not exercised any serious influence over our culture. Really? We've been content to let it keep sliding. And so what we've got now is we've got the devil trying to take America down, and the Lord literally stopping the process and saying, quote, I'm going to leave the door open for an awakening, unquote. But it's not the awakening we are looking for. We're looking for a religious, ecstatic experience. What God is doing is awakening us to take territory and occupying it aggressively against the forces trying to disciple America from a sheep nation into a goat nation. And there are a number of different videos of him down here. Okay, this is the first time I've heard about him. So some of you may know who he is and know more about him than I do. These preachers, these new preachers, these prosperity preachers, they have absolutely nothing to do with anything that was spoken of by Jesus Christ in the Bible. Okay, nothing. If Christians would stick more to what Jesus Christ, supposedly said, whoever wrote these words down was very wise. There's no doubt about that. You read the New Testament, a lot of the things that are attributed to Christ's sayings were very wise sayings. Good, solid, moral codes, okay? No doubt about that. I mean, I don't think that everyone has to follow it, for sure. I don't follow everything that's in the Bible by a long shot. Of course I don't. But if Christians were to follow it, then they wouldn't be involved in politics. That's for sure. These are things that we need to be aware of as, quote, non-believers or, quote, heretics. That's what they would call me. That's what they would call Lucy, heretic. Because we were in the church and we left. Hell, I was a preacher myself. So these are things you need to be aware of. That this is the force that is moving Donald Trump. It's what's motivating him. Of course, it might have just motivated him to get into the office. It's yet to be seen whether he's going to continue with these people or whether he's going to just ignore them and do whatever the hell he wants to. It's yet to be seen. But if he wants to be reelected in 4 years, he's going to have to give these people something. He's going to have to give them something. So these are dangerous and dark times for anyone who's not a Christian and not their type of Christian, this prosperity type, who believes that God is Santa Claus and all you have to do is ask him for it and he'll hand it to you. That they are looking for material gain in this world, which is exactly opposite of what the Bible says about how you cannot serve God and serve mammon, money. You can't do both. It's unbelievable that so many so-called Christians are I mean, it's the vast majority of them. It's not just a lot. It's the majority of them. And as I said, we're talking about, in the world, 2.5 billion people. So that's dangerous to you and me. So I'm up here without a safety net, folks, giving you this information. And what I'm asking for you in return is listen to it. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. So if you like what I do, please click subscribe, because there's going to be fewer and fewer of us, and I'm going to do it until my dying breath, if that's necessary, speaking against Donald Trump and speaking against these type of Christians, which it appears is the vast majority of the Christians, at least here in this country. So I have been doing it and will continue to do it. Somebody has to. I'm not the only one doing it, but I'll tell you, I'm the only one that I know of that does it consistently, besides my wife, that goes out and does this. And we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for you, so that you have this information, so that you be aware. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This is Shindo. You all have a good Sunday.
By the fires of hell a-glowing, is the grisly reaper mowing?